Imagine living in a world where you no longer have to chase validation, where you no longer feel the sting of being overlooked, ignored, or underestimated. Imagine if people, whether in your personal life, at work, or even strangers, began to naturally recognize your worth, respect your presence, and value your contributions without you begging for attention. That is not a fantasy. That is not about manipulation. That is about aligning your life with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Today, on Diary Stoic, we will uncover 7 powerful strategies, grounded in Stoic philosophy, that will make others value you deeply. And let me tell you this, if you stay until the very end, the 7th strategy is by far the most transformative, the one that emperors, philosophers, and warriors alike lived by to ensure their names and legacies would be remembered for centuries. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt invisible? Have you ever wondered why, no matter how much effort you put into being good, kind, or skilled, people still take you for granted? It is not about you being unworthy. It is about the way you carry yourself, the principles you live by, and the boundaries you enforce. The Stoics understood this more than anyone else. They lived in times of chaos, betrayal, war, and suffering, yet they discovered how to hold themselves in such a way that others were compelled to respect them, not through fear, not through wealth, but through an unshakable presence. And that is exactly what we will explore today. 7 Stoic strategies to make them value you. These are not tricks, these are not manipulative games. These are disciplines of the mind and practices of the soul that transform the way others perceive you. Because here is the truth. When you embody strength, calmness, and self-control, you become magnetic. People will not just notice you, they will value you. They will seek your approval, your insight, and your company, not because you demanded it, but because you have become the kind of person they cannot ignore. So here's the promise. By the end of this video, you will walk away with 7 timeless Stoic lessons that you can begin applying immediately. These strategies will change how others see you, but more importantly, they will change how you see yourself. Because once you stop begging for value and instead start embodying it, the world has no choice but to recognize it. And here's a little warning. These strategies will not always make people like you. In fact, some may resent you for them, but respect is greater than popularity. As Epictetus once said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. And deal. The goal is not to win everyone's approval. The goal is to stand so firmly in your worth that others have no choice but to acknowledge it. Now, let me give you an intriguing preview of what's ahead. In these 7 strategies, you will learn how silence can be more powerful than words, how to establish boundaries that make people respect you instantly, how to detach from outcomes and gain control over your emotions, how to build an inner strength that makes you untouchable, and how to embody the rare quality that every Stoic, from Seneca to Marcus Aurelius, believed was the true source of human greatness. And remember, the final strategy, the 7th one, is the most powerful of all. It is the one that separates the average from the extraordinary, the forgotten from the unforgettable. You will not want to miss it. But I also want to make this interactive. I want you to take part in this journey with me. As you listen to this introduction, I challenge you to write a phrase in the comments section below, a phrase that reflects the mindset you are about to step into. And that phrase is, I am unshakable. Write it down, declare it, own it, because today you are not just learning about Stoicism, you are stepping into a higher version of yourself. Now let us begin this journey together. 7 strategies rooted in Stoicism that will not only make others value you, they will make you value yourself in a way that no external opinion can ever take away. This is Diary Stoic, and the path begins right now. 7th strategy. Live as if you already possess nothing to prove. There is a reason this strategy is placed at the very end. It's not only the most powerful, but also the one that ties together everything Stoicism has ever taught about strength, freedom, and inner mastery. The Stoics understood that the greatest burden a human being can carry is the endless attempt to prove themselves to others. When you live constantly seeking approval, when you bend your actions to be noticed, and when your sense of worth rises or falls based on external recognition, you place your very soul in the hands of strangers. This is slavery, not freedom, and the Stoics believed that the essence of philosophy was liberation, the kind of liberation that comes only when you recognize that you have nothing to prove. To live as if you already possess nothing to prove is to stand at the center of the storm without moving. It is to embody a calm confidence that does not waver, whether people applaud you or ignore you, whether they admire you or despise you. This kind of confidence is not arrogance. It is humility born from strength. It is the recognition that your value is inherent, rooted in virtue and in the integrity of your actions, not in the shifting opinions of others. Imagine for a moment the way most people move through life. They are desperate to be seen. They want validation from colleagues, respect from friends, admiration from family, recognition from strangers. They dress not for themselves, but to impress. They speak not to communicate truth, but to win approval. They pursue goals, not because those goals are meaningful, but because they believe the applause will finally give them a sense of worth. And yet, paradoxically, the harder they chase value, the less they are valued. People sense desperation, and desperation repels respect. The Stoic path is the opposite. Instead of chasing validation, the Stoic centers themselves on what they can control: their reason, their choices, their alignment with virtue. Epictetus taught that our worth is never determined by what others think of us, but by how we live in accordance with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. When you embrace this principle, you suddenly see the futility of trying to prove yourself. The applause fades, the criticism fades, but your actions remain. And if those actions are rooted in virtue, then you are already complete. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who could have lived entirely for public image, constantly reminded himself in his private writings that nothing was more foolish than being enslaved by opinion. He wrote, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Self-indulgence means tying it to the things that happen to you. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." He knew that if even the most powerful man in the world lived for the validation of others, he would still be a slave. Freedom, therefore, was not in conquering lands or commanding armies. Freedom was in conquering the need to prove oneself. When you live this way, something extraordinary happens. People begin to value you more, not because you are asking for it, but because you radiate independence. Human beings instinctively respect those who do not beg for their approval. When you walk into a room with calm presence, when you contribute with clarity and then detach from the outcome, when you remain steady in the face of rejection or indifference, you become untouchable. Others notice. They may not always like it, but they cannot help but respect it. And here lies the paradox. The moment you stop trying to be valued is the moment people start to value you. When you are no longer seeking, you become the source. When you no longer chase, you begin to attract. This is not manipulation. It is the natural gravity of a person who is grounded, whole, and free. The transformation that comes from living with nothing to prove touches every part of your life. In conversation, you no longer speak to impress, but to speak truth. In work, you no longer obsess over recognition, but focus on excellence. In relationships, you no longer enter seeking completion, but sharing what is already complete within you. The pressure lifts, the anxiety dissolves. The constant measuring against others fades into silence, and in that silence, you discover strength. Seneca once wrote, "The man who does not value himself cannot value anything or anyone." To live without the need to prove yourself is to declare silently but powerfully that you already value yourself. You are not waiting for the world to hand you worth because you have already found it in virtue and in the discipline of your soul. This self-possession makes you rare, and what is rare is always valued. Think about the strongest individuals you have known, whether in history or in your own life. They are not the loudest, not the ones constantly drawing attention, but the ones whose presence speaks without words. Their calmness is magnetic, their detachment is powerful, their confidence is quiet but undeniable. This is the presence you cultivate when you live with nothing to prove. The modern world, of course, tries to drag you in the opposite direction. Social media thrives on comparison, demanding that you prove yourself daily through likes, comments, and numbers. Workplaces thrive on competition, family expectations push you to constantly measure up. The noise is endless, but when you step out of that noise, when you refuse to let it dictate your worth, you rise above it. Others are trapped in the race, running endlessly for recognition that never satisfies. You, on the other hand, stand still, grounded and free. And because you stand apart, people notice. To practice this principle in daily life, begin with small acts. Resist the urge to boast when you achieve something. Allow your actions to speak. Detach from outcomes. Give your best effort, but do not let the recognition or the lack of it disturb your peace. Reframe rejection. When someone overlooks you, remind yourself that your virtue remains untouched. And above all, learn to seek applause only from your own conscience. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let others misunderstand you if they must, for your worth is not theirs to decide. This is the essence of the seventh strategy, to live as if you already possess nothing to prove. Because once you stop proving, you start embodying. Once you stop begging for value, you become valuable. And once you stand firm in your own worth, the world has no choice but to recognize it. So I leave you with this challenge. Declare it openly, here and now. Write the phrase, "I am unshakable," because that is the truth you must step into. You are no longer a prisoner of opinions. You are no longer enslaved by the need to prove yourself. You are free, and freedom lived fully is the ultimate reason why they will value you more than ever before. Sixth strategy. Master the power of boundaries. If you truly want people to value you, one of the most powerful lessons you must embrace is the mastery of boundaries. This is the sixth Stoic strategy, and it is one that determines whether others respect you or whether they walk all over you. Without boundaries, your worth is diluted. Without boundaries, you become the person who gives endlessly and receives nothing in return. And here lies the truth. People rarely value what is freely available without resistance. But when you create firm, clear, and unshakable boundaries, you send an undeniable message. My time, my energy, and my presence are valuable. And this message forces others to respect you even if they do not want to. The Stoics were masters of this principle long before the modern world even had a name for it. For them, boundaries were not simply about saying no to others. They were about protecting the most sacred possession of all, the mind. Epictetus taught that if you allow others to control your emotions, your schedule, or your choices, you are no longer free. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This mastery begins with boundaries. To live without them is to hand over your freedom to anyone who demands your attention. But when you set them firmly, you reclaim your sovereignty, and sovereignty commands respect. Think of Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by politicians, generals, and advisors, each one seeking to influence him, to pull him into their schemes, to demand his time and his decisions. Yet in his private writings, he reminds himself daily to guard his mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That was not only a reflection, but a shield. He knew that if he allowed others to invade his mind unchecked, he would lose the very core of his power. His boundary was invisible but unbreakable. He allowed counsel, he allowed debate, but he never surrendered his inner judgment to the whims of others. Boundaries are not walls to isolate you from the world. They are structures that allow you to interact with the world on your terms. Without them, you become a slave to every request, every opinion, and every demand. With them, you become someone who is not easily swayed, someone who knows where they stand. And here is what makes boundaries so powerful. The moment you establish them, others begin to see you differently. People test limits by nature. If they see that your time can be interrupted at any moment, they will interrupt it. If they see that your emotions can be provoked easily, they will provoke them. But if they see that you stand firmly, calmly, and consistently behind your lines, they begin to respect you because they realize you respect yourself. This is where most people fail. They are afraid to draw boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or loss of approval. They think that by always saying yes, by always accommodating, by always bending, they will be loved more. But the opposite happens. The more you bend, the less you are respected. The more you erase your boundaries, the less you are valued. People may take from you, but they will not honor you. The Stoics would say that this is because you are trading away your virtue, the very essence of your worth, in exchange for temporary comfort. And nothing is less stoic than that. So how does this strategy actually make others value you? It does so because it communicates strength. Boundaries say, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I will not compromise my peace, my time, or my values for the fleeting approval of others. This kind of strength is rare. Most people live as open doors, available to anyone and anything. But when you live as a fortress, not closed but guarded, you become someone others cannot easily exploit. And the truth is that respect often follows the path of resistance. What people cannot easily take from you, they begin to admire. But do not misunderstand this principle. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are not arrogance. They are not an excuse to dismiss people coldly. Boundaries, when lived in the Stoic way, are rooted in justice and self-control. They are firm but fair, clear but calm. When you say no, you do not need to shout or justify endlessly. A simple, steady refusal is enough. When you protect your time, you do so not because you think others are unworthy, but because you recognize that your time is finite and must be guarded like treasure. And when you protect your emotions, you do so not by hardening into bitterness, but by choosing not to let others dictate the state of your soul. Seneca, who lived surrounded by political turmoil and personal betrayals, reminded himself of the importance of boundaries often. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How is time wasted? Mostly by allowing others to invade it with demands that do not align with our values. By establishing boundaries, you are not being selfish. You are ensuring that your limited life is used for what truly matters. And this, in turn, makes people value you more. Because when you are not endlessly available, your presence becomes significant. When you do speak, your words carry weight. When you do act, your actions are meaningful. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine someone who says yes to everything, who is constantly at the mercy of others' demands. Their time is consumed, their energy drained, their identity blurred. Do people truly value such a person? They may use them, they may even praise them for their kindness, but deep down, respect is missing. Respect is reserved for those who respect themselves enough to guard their lives. This is why boundaries are not just practical, they are philosophical. They are a declaration of self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of being valued by others. In practice, mastering boundaries requires courage. It requires enduring the discomfort of disappointing others. It requires resisting the temptation to explain or over-justify. It requires a calm firmness, the kind Marcus Aurelius embodied when he chose to stay aligned with virtue even when entire legions disagreed with him. People may resist at first. They may push harder when you begin to enforce boundaries, but over time they will adapt. They will come to recognize that your no means no, that your time has limits, that your emotions are not easily manipulated. And eventually they will value you for it, because strength always commands respect. To master boundaries is also to master yourself. For every boundary you set externally, there must be one set internally. The Stoics were not only concerned with keeping people from crossing into their peace, they were equally concerned with keeping their own impulses from crossing into folly. A boundary against anger, a boundary against greed, a boundary against wasting time on trivial pursuits. In this way, Stoic boundaries are both shields against the world and shields against the self. And when you live with such discipline, people notice. They see someone who is not scattered, not easily shaken, not constantly available to every impulse or demand. They see someone rare, and rarity, once again, breeds value. So remember this: if you want to be valued, you must first demonstrate that you value yourself enough to set boundaries. Without them, you are like an open market where everything is free. With them, you are like a sanctuary where entry requires respect. People will test you, they will push, but the firmness of your boundaries will shape how they treat you. And in the long run, it is this firmness, rooted in Stoic calmness and self-respect, that makes them value you more deeply than anything else. Let me challenge you right now. Ask yourself where in your life you have failed to set boundaries. Is it with your time, with your emotions, with your relationships, or with your work? Identify one place where you have allowed others to invade your peace, and then make the decision today to draw a line. Not with anger, not with drama, but with calm certainty. And once you do, remind yourself of this phrase, I am unshakable. Write it in the comments, say it out loud, repeat it to yourself. Because when you master the power of boundaries, you no longer beg to be valued. You embody value. And that is the essence of this sixth Stoic strategy. Fifth strategy, embrace the strength of emotional detachment. One of the deepest lessons the Stoics ever taught is that true freedom and respect come when you are no longer a prisoner of your emotions. The fifth strategy to make people value you is to embrace the strength of emotional detachment. Now, many people misunderstand what this means. They hear the phrase and assume that detachment is coldness, indifference, or a lack of compassion. But the Stoics did not mean living without feeling. They meant living without being controlled by feeling. They meant that while emotions will always rise within you, your response to them is a matter of discipline, and it is in this discipline that true respect is born. Think of how most people live. They are reactive. A harsh word is spoken, and they erupt in anger. A setback occurs, and they collapse into despair. A person praises them, and they are inflated with pride. A person criticizes them, and they are consumed by insecurity. In every situation, their emotions are like a ship in the storm, tossed endlessly by the waves of circumstance. Such a person is not respected, because everyone knows their state of mind can be manipulated with a few words, a few actions, a few opinions. But the Stoic is different. The Stoic understands that while they cannot control the waves of life, they can control the rudder of their mind. And when you demonstrate this kind of steadiness, others cannot help but value you. Marcus Aurelius, a man who carried the weight of an empire during war and plague, constantly reminded himself not to be carried away by emotions. In his private writings, he said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That single line is the essence of detachment. The external event does not control you. Your judgment about it does. If you can master your judgment, then no insult, no setback, no loss has the power to shake you. And a person who cannot be shaken commands an immense level of respect. Let us imagine two people in the same situation. Both are insulted in public. The first lashes out, shouting, defending themselves, red with anger. They may win a small victory in the moment, but they have shown their weakness. Everyone now knows how easily they can be provoked. The second remains calm, their face steady, their words measured, or perhaps they choose silence altogether. Which one do you respect more? Which one seems stronger, more dignified, more powerful? Always the one who is calm. Because calmness is a sign of mastery, and mastery is always valued. This is what emotional detachment truly is. It is not the suppression of feelings, but the control of them. It is the ability to say, yes, I feel the spark of anger, but I will not let it dictate my actions. Yes, I feel the weight of sadness, but I will not let it crush my spirit. Yes, I feel the pull of fear, but I will not let it steer my choices. It is to be human enough to feel, but stoic enough to govern those feelings. Epictetus taught this lesson in the simplest and most practical ways. He told his students not to be surprised when people behaved badly, not to be shocked by betrayal, not to be shaken by insult. He compared it to walking in the marketplace and being jostled. You do not fall into rage because someone brushed against your shoulder. You expected it as part of being in a crowd. In the same way, he said, you should expect people to sometimes act foolishly or cruelly. If you expect it, you are not disturbed by it. That is detachment. That is freedom. And when others see that they cannot control you with words or actions, they begin to value you more. But let us also make something clear. Detachment does not mean withdrawal from life. The Stoics did not believe in hiding from the world or becoming emotionless statues. They loved, they grieved, they rejoiced, they suffered. Marcus Aurelius wept for his children who died. Seneca wrote letters filled with warmth and care. Epictetus, once a slave, spoke passionately about freedom and dignity. But they did not allow these emotions to overthrow their reason. They felt deeply, but they lived wisely. And this balance is what made them so respected, both in their time and in ours. In the modern world, emotional detachment is rarer than ever. Social media thrives on outrage, on instant reaction, on emotional chaos. News cycles are designed to provoke fear, anger, and despair. Workplaces often reward those who shout the loudest rather than those who remain steady. And relationships too often become battles of reactivity, where one person's outburst fuels another's. To live stoically today, to practice detachment, is to stand out like a rock in the river, unmoved while the waters crash around you. People notice. They may not understand it, but they feel its gravity. They feel that your presence is different, and different, when it carries strength, is always valued. So how do you practice this in your own life? You begin by slowing down your response. The Stoics often spoke about the gap between stimulus and response, the moment when something happens and the moment you react. In that gap lies your power. Most people collapse the gap into nothing. They react instantly. The Stoic expands it, breathes into it, chooses wisely. Someone insults you, and instead of lashing back, you pause, you breathe, you ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most often, it is not. Someone provokes you with gossip, and instead of diving into the noise, you ask yourself, is this under my control? It is not. Someone disappoints you, and instead of drowning in despair, you ask yourself, can my grief change the outcome? It cannot, and so you choose calm. This practice is not easy. It is a lifelong discipline. There will be times when your emotions win, when your anger bursts out, when your sadness overwhelms you, when your fear paralyzes you. But each time you return to the Stoic path, each time you reclaim the gap between event and response, you grow stronger. And as you grow stronger, people around you begin to treat you differently. They come to see you not as someone easily provoked or swayed, but as someone steady, reliable, and powerful in a way that is rare. That respect, that value, is earned not by force, but by self-mastery. Let us return to Marcus Aurelius for a moment. Imagine the scene: plagues sweeping through Rome, wars pressing at the borders, betrayal within the Senate, personal losses within his family. Any lesser man would have collapsed under the weight of despair or rage. But Marcus remained steady. Not because he did not feel, he certainly did, but because he refused to let those feelings overthrow him. He reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Anew, that sentence is not just philosophy, it is survival. And it is the key to being valued, because people instinctively value those who remain steady when the world trembles. Now consider your own life. Where are you most reactive? Where do your emotions rule you instead of the other way around? Is it in anger when someone disrespects you? Is it in fear when challenges arise? Is it in insecurity when people fail to recognize your worth? Wherever it is, that is your training ground. That is where you must practice detachment. Each time you do, you grow less reactive, more deliberate, more in control. And each time you increase not only your own peace, but also the respect others have for you. The fifth strategy, then, is not about erasing your humanity. It is about elevating it. It is about refusing to be enslaved by the emotions that control most people. It is about choosing reason over impulse, virtue over reaction, calm over chaos. When you live this way, people begin to value you, not because you demand it, but because you embody something they secretly long for: stability. In a world of storms, you are the lighthouse. In a world of noise, you are the silence. In a world of reactivity, you are the calm. So once again, I challenge you to declare it. Write in the comments right now the phrase, "I am unshakable," because that is what this strategy is teaching you to become. Not emotionless, not indifferent, but unshakable. And once you are unshakable, you no longer beg for value, you radiate it. And when you radiate it, they cannot help but respect you. Fourth strategy: cultivate the power of silence. If you wish to be valued, you must learn to master not only your words, but also your silence. The fourth Stoic strategy to make people truly respect you is to cultivate the power of silence. In our noisy world, silence is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. The Stoics understood that most people waste their words, speaking without measure, reacting without thought, filling the air with noise that dilutes their presence. But when you hold your tongue, when you choose your words carefully, and when you let silence carry weight, you create an aura that cannot be ignored. Think for a moment about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who always speak the loudest, the ones who rush to fill every empty moment with chatter, or are they the ones who speak rarely but meaningfully, the ones who listen more than they talk, the ones whose words, when finally spoken, carry authority? Almost always, it is the latter. This is because silence is not emptiness, it is strength under control. To be silent when others are loud shows discipline. To remain calm when others demand a reaction shows power. And people value power when it is rooted in control rather than chaos. Epictetus taught his students that they should speak only when necessary, and that even then, their words should be measured and modest. He said, "Be silent for the most part, or if you speak, say only what is necessary and in few words." Why would he advise such restraint? Because words, once spoken, cannot be recalled. They reveal your character, your emotions, and your level of discipline. If you are careless with them, you show weakness. But if you are deliberate, if you use silence as a shield and speech as a weapon, then every time you open your mouth, people pay attention. That is the power of silence. Marcus Aurelius too understood this. In his meditations, he often reminded himself to avoid unnecessary talk, to focus on truth rather than opinion, and to remain quiet when words added nothing of value. He was emperor, surrounded by advisors, senators, and soldiers who filled his ears with constant noise. Yet he knew that the most important dialogue was not with others, but with himself. His silence allowed him to reflect, to sharpen his mind, to remain in control of his decisions. And because he did not waste words, when he did speak, people listened. His silence created gravity, and gravity is always valued. In the modern world, silence is even more powerful because it is so rare. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. People rush to post their opinions, to comment on every issue, to prove their intelligence through constant words. But the one who holds back, who listens, who chooses carefully when to speak, this person stands apart. Their silence becomes mysterious, and mystery commands attention. People begin to wonder what you think, to anticipate your words, to respect the fact that you are not giving yourself away cheaply. In a world where attention is thrown around carelessly, withholding it increases its value. Silence is also a form of emotional discipline. When someone insults you, silence shows that you are not shaken. When someone provokes you, silence shows that you are in control. When others gossip, silence shows that you are above the noise. This is not weakness, it is mastery. It is easy to lash out, to defend yourself with a flood of words, to fill the air with reactions. It is much harder to remain calm, to withhold, to let the storm pass without moving, and it is precisely because it is harder that it is respected. Seneca once wrote, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." This balance is the mark of wisdom. Too much silence, and you may seem disengaged. Too many words, and you seem reckless. But when you learn when to hold your tongue and when to release your thoughts, you create a rhythm of presence that makes others value you more. They realize that if you are silent, it is not because you have nothing to say, but because you are choosing not to. And choice is what creates value. Let us look at this practically. Imagine a workplace meeting where everyone is talking over each other, trying to prove their intelligence. One person sits calmly, listening, observing, waiting. They do not rush to prove themselves. They do not need to interrupt. But when the noise quiets, they speak one clear sentence, and the room falls silent. Why? Because their silence has made their words rare, and rarity amplifies value. Now imagine a personal conflict where someone hurls accusations or insults at you. Most people would rush to defend themselves, to argue back. But you choose silence. You choose calm. You look them in the eye, steady and unshaken. They may continue for a while, but eventually they feel the futility of their noise against your silence. In the end, they respect you, not because you shouted louder, but because you did not need to shout at all. This is why cultivating silence is so central to being valued. It communicates self-respect. It communicates that you do not need to prove yourself with constant words. It communicates that your emotions are not easily provoked. And it communicates that when you do speak, your words will matter. People instinctively value this because it is so rare. The challenge, of course, is that silence is uncomfortable. Most people fill silence because they fear it. They fear what others will think if they do not respond instantly. They fear being overlooked, misunderstood, or forgotten. But the Stoic learns to embrace silence, to sit within it, to let it strengthen them. Silence becomes a tool, a discipline, a shield. It is not emptiness, it is presence without noise, and presence without noise is powerful. When you begin to practice this, you will notice a shift in how people treat you. They will stop expecting quick reactions. They will wait for your input. They will lean in when you speak because they know you do not waste words. Your silence will begin to carry more weight than the chatter of others. And when your silence is valued, your presence is valued. But remember, the goal is not to use silence as manipulation. The Stoics never aimed to play games with others' perception. The goal is to cultivate silence as a reflection of inner mastery. To be silent because you are calm, not because you are plotting. To be silent because you are deliberate, not because you are afraid. To be silent because you understand that not every battle deserves your voice, and not every thought deserves to be spoken. When silence flows from wisdom rather than fear, it commands respect. So this is the fourth strategy, to cultivate the power of silence, not as withdrawal from life, but as discipline within it, not as coldness, but as control, not as absence, but as presence. When you master silence, people will value your words more, your presence more, and your strength more, because silence is not weakness. Silence is strength restrained, and restrained strength is always valued. And now, as I have done with every strategy, I leave you with the challenge. Declare it openly and write in the comments the phrase, "I am unshakable." Because when you master silence, you become exactly that, unshakable. Not swayed by noise, not provoked by chaos, not diminished by chatter. You become someone whose presence speaks louder than words. And in that presence, you will find respect, value, and the strength that no one can take away. Third strategy, build an inner fortress of discipline. If you truly want people to value you, you must become someone who cannot be easily broken, swayed, or corrupted. The third Stoic strategy to make people respect you is to build an inner fortress of discipline. The Stoics believed that while external power, wealth, or recognition may come and go, the one possession no one can take from you is the mastery you build within yourself. Discipline is that mastery. Discipline is the fortress that shields you from chaos, protects you from weakness, and radiates strength to the world around you. And people instinctively value those who are disciplined because they are rare, reliable, and untouchable. Consider the lives of the Stoics themselves. Epictetus was born into slavery, beaten and humiliated, yet he cultivated such strict self-discipline that he rose from chains to become one of the most respected philosophers of his time. He did not have riches, armies, or political power, but he had a fortress within himself that no master could conquer. That discipline gave him dignity, and dignity made him valuable in a way no wealth ever could. Marcus Aurelius, on the other hand, had all the external power the world could offer, yet he still reminded himself daily that discipline was the only true safeguard. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Discipline was his fortress, keeping him from collapsing under the immense pressures of ruling an empire. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not flashy. It does not boast. But it is the foundation of every kind of greatness. Without discipline, talent wastes away, opportunities are squandered, and respect dissolves. With discipline, even the weakest beginnings can grow into strength. When others see you living with consistency, restraint, and commitment, they begin to value you, not because you told them to, but because your very life shows it. Discipline is proof, and proof is respected. Think of how most people live. They are driven by impulse. They eat what they crave. They say what they feel. They follow their moods. They abandon commitments as soon as difficulty arises. They are like a door without hinges, swinging wildly with every push of circumstance. Such people are not valued because they cannot be trusted. Their lack of discipline makes them unreliable. But when you become disciplined, when you show up consistently, when you control your appetites, when you stay true to your commitments, even when it is hard, you separate yourself from the masses. You become rare, and what is rare is valuable. The Stoics viewed discipline as a form of freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But the Stoics knew that this kind of so-called freedom is actually slavery to desires, to fears, to impulses. True freedom is the ability to master those impulses, to govern yourself, to live in alignment with reason rather than whim. Seneca once said, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." He meant that if you cannot control your desires, your anger, your fears, you are not truly free. Discipline breaks those chains. And when you live in freedom, others cannot help but admire and respect you. Let us imagine a scenario. Two people are given the same task at work. The first procrastinates, complains, and delivers the work late, full of excuses. The second, though equally busy, organizes their time, stays consistent, and delivers with excellence. Which one is valued? Which one is respected? Always the disciplined one. Now extend this beyond work. In personal life, the one who manages their emotions, keeps their promises, and controls their impulses is trusted and valued more than the one who is reckless, careless, or inconsistent. Discipline communicates strength, and strength, when quiet and steady, commands respect. But discipline is not only external. It is not just about how you work, speak, or act. It is about how you govern your inner life. The Stoics practiced daily routines of reflection, meditation, and journaling to sharpen their minds and keep themselves aligned with virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal every day, reminding himself of discipline in thought and action. Epictetus instructed his students to rehearse difficulties in their minds before they arrived, so that they could face them calmly. Seneca wrote letters to friends, training himself in self-control, reminding himself of death, reminding himself of the brevity of life. These practices built an inner fortress so strong that no external storm could tear it down. Discipline is also visible in how you handle pleasure and pain. Anyone can resist when circumstances are easy, but the true test of discipline is in adversity and temptation. The Stoic remains disciplined when insulted, when ignored, when suffering loss. They remain disciplined when offered pleasures, luxuries, or distractions that could weaken their character. This balance, this consistency, is what sets them apart. People value those who remain steady in extremes because steadiness is so rare. In our time, the absence of discipline is everywhere. Most people cannot commit to anything beyond a fleeting moment. They abandon goals when results are not immediate. They give up on relationships when challenges arise. They sacrifice health for convenience, character for comfort, virtue for pleasure. And because undisciplined people are everywhere, the disciplined person stands out like a mountain in a field of sand. They do not collapse when life presses down on them. They remain standing, and others look to them as a pillar. That pillar is valued not because it demands attention, but because it naturally holds weight. To build this inner fortress, you must begin with small acts. Discipline is not achieved in a single moment of willpower. It is forged daily in choices so small that most people ignore them. Waking up at the time you promised yourself, even when you do not feel like it. Choosing healthy food over indulgence, even when cravings call. Remaining silent instead of arguing, even when provoked. Completing a task with excellence, even when no one is watching. Each of these acts is a stone, and each stone builds the fortress. Over time, the fortress becomes unshakable, and when people encounter someone with such consistency, they cannot help but value them. But discipline is not about perfection. The Stoics did not demand that you never fail, never stumble, never break. They knew that human beings are fallible. What mattered was returning to the path each time you stray. Seneca wrote, "I will keep the seriousness of a judge, the piety of a priest, the discipline of a soldier, the innocence of a child, and the generosity of a benefactor." He did not claim he already lived this perfectly. He claimed it as his direction, his discipline, his fortress in progress. So do not think discipline means you must never falter. It means that even when you falter, you return, rebuild, and remain committed. The beauty of discipline is that it does not need to be advertised. People notice it without you saying a word. They see your consistency, your steadiness, your calm. They sense that you are not easily distracted or controlled. They realize that your time, your energy, and your character are not scattered, but focused. And this realization creates respect. Discipline does not beg to be valued. It simply is valuable. So the third strategy is this: build an inner fortress of discipline. Build it in your habits, your words, your emotions, and your thoughts. Build it slowly, stone by stone, day by day. Do not expect others to notice instantly. Do not even build it for them. Build it for yourself, because it is the only fortress that will last when all else crumbles. And when you do, people will begin to value you, not because you demanded it, but because you have become rare, steady, and strong. And as with every strategy, I leave you with the same challenge. Write it now, declare it boldly, and own it with conviction. I am unshakable. Because discipline is the essence of being unshakable. Without it, you are fragile. With it, you are a fortress. And when you are a fortress, people will respect and value you because they know you cannot be broken. Second strategy, command respect through consistent integrity. If you want people to value you deeply, beyond temporary admiration or shallow recognition, you must live with consistent integrity. The second Stoic strategy is not about appearances, clever words, or the pursuit of reputation. It is about aligning every action with your principles so firmly that people cannot doubt your character. The Stoics believed that integrity, living in accordance with virtue without contradiction, was the highest form of strength. And it is this strength, steady and unshaken, that draws respect. People may not always like you, they may not always agree with you, but they will value you if they know that your word is truth, your actions are consistent, and your life is not divided. Integrity is rare. Most people compromise their values when pressure comes. They bend their principles when rewards tempt them or when fear threatens them. They say one thing in public and live another in private. They promise much and deliver little. And because this is so common, integrity stands out like a beacon. When others see a person who remains true, even when it is costly, even when it is inconvenient, they cannot help but respect it. The Stoics understood this deeply, which is why they elevated integrity to the center of their philosophy. Epictetus, who knew hardship from slavery to freedom, warned his students never to betray their philosophy with their actions. He said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." For him, integrity was not about speeches or debates. It was about living in such a way that your life itself became your philosophy. If you claim to value wisdom, then you must act wisely. If you claim to value courage, then you must face fear with resolve. If you claim to value justice, then you must treat others fairly even when it brings you no advantage. To fail in this was to be divided, and division weakens value. But to succeed was to embody strength that others could not ignore. Marcus Aurelius, though emperor, constantly reminded himself not to be corrupted by the temptations of power. He wrote in his journal, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That simple sentence was his guide, and it reveals how seriously the Stoics took integrity. Marcus knew that his soldiers, senators, and citizens might flatter him, fear him, or try to manipulate him, but his true worth was determined only by his alignment with virtue. If his power corrupted his integrity, then his empire meant nothing. If his power strengthened his integrity, then his empire reflected justice. He understood that being valued was not about pleasing everyone. It was about remaining true to himself in every moment. Seneca, who lived in the dangerous court of Nero, also emphasized the value of integrity. Though he was forced at times into compromise, his letters revealed constant reminders to himself and to others that nothing is more destructive than hypocrisy. He said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This was not only a statement about wealth, but about character. A man who constantly craves approval, who constantly craves recognition, who compromises his values for temporary gain, is impoverished in integrity. And such a man cannot be respected. In practical life, integrity means that your words and actions align. If you promise something, you follow through. If you speak a value, you live it. If you commit to a standard, you uphold it even when no one is watching. Most importantly, integrity is not situational, it is consistent. People respect consistency because it gives them something solid in a world full of shifting sands. They may disagree with you, but if they know you stand by your principles, they will value you. But if you shift with every wind, they will see you as unreliable, and unreliability destroys respect. Think about the power of trust. A person with integrity is trusted even by their enemies. Why? Because integrity is predictable. If you are honest, your enemy knows where you stand. If you are just, your enemy knows you will not betray your principles. If you are disciplined, your enemy knows you will not be easily corrupted. Trust is built not on perfection, but on consistency. And consistency is the essence of integrity. And because trust is the foundation of value in any relationship, integrity becomes the direct path to being valued. But integrity is difficult because it requires sacrifice. It is easy to tell the truth when it costs you nothing, but can you tell it when it costs you comfort, money, or status? It is easy to act with justice when it benefits you, but can you act with justice when it harms you? It is easy to stay disciplined when people are watching, but can you do it when you are alone? The Stoics challenged themselves daily with these questions. They practiced hardship to test their courage. They reflected on death to test their humility. They lived as if every moment was a chance to prove their integrity, not to the world, but to themselves. And in proving it to themselves, they earned the respect of others. The modern world tempts you every day to compromise your integrity. Advertisements promise shortcuts. Workplaces reward results even when they are gained through dishonesty. Social pressures push you to conform, even when conformity betrays your values. But when you refuse, when you hold your ground, when you say, "No, this is not right and I will not do it," you become someone people notice. They may resist you, they may even resent you, but deep down, they value you because they see in you what they lack in themselves. The courage to remain whole. Living with integrity also frees you from the exhausting game of appearances. Most people live split lives, one version in public, another in private, one face for friends, another for strangers. But the Stoic seeks unity. The same person you are in private is the person you are in public. The same values you claim in speech are the ones you live in silence. This wholeness creates peace, and peace radiates strength. Others sense it, even if they cannot name it, and they value you for it. Now ask yourself, where in your life have you been tempted to compromise? Where have you spoken words that your actions did not support? Where have you promised but not delivered? Where have you bent your principles for comfort or approval? These are the cracks in your fortress of integrity, and every crack weakens your value. The Stoic path is not to condemn yourself, but to repair the cracks daily. Integrity is not perfection, it is commitment. It is choosing again and again to align with virtue. When you live with integrity, you will not always be popular. Some may dislike you because you will not bend. Some may resent you because you expose their lack of discipline. Some may even oppose you because your integrity makes their corruption harder to hide. But respect is greater than popularity, and value is deeper than approval. The Stoics never sought to be liked. They sought to be virtuous. And in being virtuous, they earned a respect that has outlasted centuries. So the second strategy is clear. Command respect through consistent integrity. Do not chase reputation. Do not perform values for the applause of others. Live them, embody them. Let your life itself be your philosophy, so that even if you never speak a word, your actions declare who you are. People cannot help but value someone who is whole, someone who does not fracture under pressure, someone whose yes means yes and whose no means no. And once again, I leave you with the same challenge. Write it boldly, as a declaration, as a reminder, as a vow. I am unshakable, because integrity makes you unshakable. When your values are consistent, no storm can destroy you. And when you live this way, you will not need to beg to be valued. You will simply be valued because the strength of integrity commands it. Every journey begins within. If you want people to respect you, to recognize your worth, to truly value you, the first step is not about them. It is about you. The first Stoic strategy, and the foundation upon which all the others rest, is to value yourself before expecting others to value you. This is not arrogance. This is not vanity. This is not about inflating your ego or pretending to be greater than you are. This is about recognizing your inherent dignity as a rational being, embracing the virtues that make you whole, and refusing to treat yourself as cheap or disposable. For if you do not value yourself, no one else will. The Stoics believed that self-respect was the root of all strength. Epictetus, who was born a slave, endured humiliation and abuse, yet he refused to see himself as worthless. He taught his students that the opinions of others meant nothing compared to the opinion you hold of yourself. He said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. What did he mean by that? He meant that the value you place upon yourself must not depend on others' recognition. If you see yourself as valuable because you live with virtue, then no insult, no neglect, no rejection can take that away. And when you live in this way, others cannot help but notice, for people instinctively value those who already value themselves. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor burdened with immense responsibility, often reminded himself that he must not live for the applause of the crowd. He wrote, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." He knew that most people betray themselves in order to win approval. They sell their peace for popularity, their integrity for comfort, their dignity for recognition. But the Stoic refuses this trade. The Stoic begins by standing firmly in self-respect, knowing that if you do not hold yourself in esteem, no one else will. To value yourself first is to set the tone for how others will treat you. Seneca too emphasized this lesson in his letters. He warned against attaching your value to external things, wealth, status, or praise. He said, "He is most powerful who has himself in his own power." When you value yourself, you are in your own power. When you do not, you hand over your worth to the opinions of others. And what is given away so easily is rarely respected. Think of it like this. If you walk into a room apologizing for your existence, lowering your head, hiding your voice, people will not value you. They will take your lead and assume your worth is low. But if you walk into a room steady, calm, confident, not boasting, not demanding, but grounded in self-respect, people feel it. They sense that you value yourself, and so they begin to treat you accordingly. Value is contagious. The way you hold yourself teaches others how to treat you. Yet many people fail at this first step. They wait for others to give them value before they give it to themselves. They wait for recognition before they recognize their own worth. They wait for love before they learn to love themselves. This is why they are often disappointed, because the world reflects back to them the uncertainty they carry within. But the Stoic flips this. The Stoic begins by affirming, "I am valuable because I live in accordance with reason and virtue." From this foundation, all external respect flows naturally. To value yourself does not mean indulgence. It does not mean treating yourself with luxury or pampering yourself with comforts. The Stoics did not value themselves through possessions. They valued themselves through discipline, courage, wisdom, and justice. Self-respect is not found in spoiling yourself. It is found in mastering yourself. When you say no to impulses, you value yourself. When you choose virtue over vice, you value yourself. When you hold yourself to high standards, even in private, you value yourself. This integrity radiates outward, and others sense it. Consider again Epictetus. He had nothing by worldly standards. He owned no wealth, held no position of power, and had no social rank. Yet his students, many of them wealthy and powerful men, sat at his feet with reverence. Why? Because he valued himself. He refused to see himself as less than any man, regardless of status. His dignity was unshakable because it came from within. And that unshakable dignity made him valuable in the eyes of all who encountered him. In practice, valuing yourself requires daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal each night, examining his actions, correcting his faults, reminding himself of his principles. This was not self-indulgence, it was self-respect. To look at your life honestly, to admit where you have failed, to recommit to your values, is to treat yourself as someone worthy of discipline and growth. People who do not value themselves avoid this work. They distract themselves with entertainment, with noise, with constant activity, because they fear the silence in which they must face themselves. But the Stoic values themselves enough to sit with their own soul, to correct it, to strengthen it. And this inner work shines outward as strength and respect. Valuing yourself also means refusing to tolerate disrespect. This does not mean lashing out at others, but it means setting standards for how you are treated. If someone constantly demeans you, mocks you, or uses you, and you allow it, you show that you do not value yourself. But when you calmly enforce boundaries, when you walk away from those who diminish you, you declare that your worth is not negotiable. People respect those who respect themselves. Even those who dislike you will value the firmness with which you carry yourself. The world will test you. It will constantly push you to undervalue yourself, to trade your dignity for comfort, to bend your principles for approval. But each time you resist, each time you affirm your worth, you grow stronger. And the stronger you grow, the more others notice. They see someone who does not crumble under criticism, who does not beg for validation, who does not cheapen themselves for temporary gain. They see someone unshakable, and unshakable people are always valued. The danger lies in confusing self-value with arrogance. The Stoics warned against pride that places oneself above others. True self-value does not need to look down on anyone else. It simply stands firm in dignity. The arrogant man demands respect, but does not give it. The Stoic values themselves and therefore values others because they recognize that all humans share the same rational nature. To value yourself is to live with quiet confidence, not loud boasting. It is to embody worth, not to demand it. So the first strategy is simple but profound. Value yourself before expecting others to value you. Without this foundation, all other strategies crumble. With it, you become someone who cannot be ignored. Others take their cues from you. If you carry yourself as worthless, they will treat you as such. If you carry yourself with dignity, they will value you, whether they like you or not. Self-value is the seed from which all external respect grows. And as with every strategy, I give you the same challenge. Write it now, declare it boldly, make it the foundation of your life. I am unshakable. Because when you value yourself, you are unshakable. You no longer beg for worth, you embody it. And when you embody it, others cannot help but recognize it. And so, we have reached the end of this journey together. You have walked through 7 Stoic strategies, each one designed not to manipulate others, not to trick them into valuing you, but to transform the way you live, the way you see yourself, and the way you command respect simply by existing in alignment with timeless principles. We began with the truth that you must value yourself before expecting others to value you, because if you do not carry dignity within, no one else will ever grant it to you. We learned the necessity of integrity, that consistency between words and actions is the foundation of trust, and trust is the foundation of being valued. We explored the fortress of discipline, the daily commitment to mastery over impulse, which turns you into someone rare, steady, and respected. We saw the immense strength of silence, the ability to hold back words, to let calmness and restraint speak louder than noise. We learned the necessity of emotional detachment, the refusal to let feelings control your actions so that you remain unshakable when others collapse. We embraced the power of boundaries, the lines you draw to protect your dignity, to declare your worth through self-respect. And finally, we uncovered the ultimate principle, to live as if you have nothing to prove, because the moment you stop chasing value is the moment you embody it. Together, these 7 strategies form not just a guide to being valued by others, but a philosophy of living. And that is the essence of Stoicism. It is not a trick for gaining respect, but a discipline for living with virtue. Respect, value, admiration. These are the natural byproducts of living well, not the goals themselves. The Stoics never sought applause, yet their names echo through history. They never sought recognition, yet emperors, slaves, and citizens alike turned to their wisdom. Why? Because they lived unshakably, and unshakable people are always remembered. Now I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on your own life. How much of your energy has been wasted begging for others to value you? How many times have you lowered your standards, betrayed your integrity, or abandoned your dignity in the desperate hope of winning approval? How many times have you sacrificed your peace just to keep someone else comfortable? And did it ever truly give you the respect you longed for? No, because the respect of others can never be bought with desperation. It can only be earned by embodying the qualities that naturally command it. That is why Stoicism remains so relevant today. In a world that thrives on attention, noise, and validation, the Stoic stands apart as a reminder of a different path. While everyone else shouts to be heard, the Stoic chooses silence. While everyone else chases recognition, the Stoic values themselves. While everyone else bends to opinion, the Stoic remains rooted in integrity. While everyone else is tossed around by emotion, the Stoic remains calm. While everyone else is consumed by proving themselves, the Stoic has nothing to prove. And because of this contrast, the Stoic presence shines. It commands value not by force, but by gravity. Let us not forget the examples of those who lived these truths. Epictetus, born in chains, physically broken yet spiritually free, became a teacher to emperors and leaders. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire, faced with constant turmoil, remained humble, reflective, and unshakable, writing words that continue to inspire centuries later. Seneca, caught in the storms of politics and betrayal, still held to the truth that virtue mattered more than fortune. These men lived in different positions, slave, emperor, statesman, yet all found the same path, self-mastery above all, dignity rooted in virtue, and freedom from the need for approval. And that path made them men of immense value, not only in their own time, but in ours. What then will you choose? Will you continue to live as most do, desperate for attention, swayed by opinion and crushed by every rejection? Or will you choose the Stoic path, the harder path, the path of discipline, silence, integrity, and self-value? The choice is yours. And understand this, the moment you choose the Stoic path, you will feel resistance. People may not celebrate your silence. They may not like your boundaries. They may not praise your detachment. Some may resent your integrity because it exposes their lack of it. But remember, the goal is not to be liked. The goal is to be valued. And value often grows slowly, quietly, as people come to realize that you are not like the rest, that you are unshakable. And here is the great irony. When you stop seeking value, you will receive it more. When you stop proving yourself, people will recognize you more. When you stop begging for respect, people will give it freely. Why? Because human beings are drawn to strength, and strength is born from self-possession. The Stoic does not beg to be noticed. The Stoic simply is, and in their being, they radiate presence. That presence cannot be ignored because it carries weight. Now let me leave you with one final reflection. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. Imagine looking back at the version of you who lived begging for value, begging for respect, begging to be noticed. Will you be proud of that person? Or will you wish you had started sooner, living with dignity, setting boundaries, building discipline, and standing firm in self-respect? 10 years will pass regardless. The question is, will you spend them chasing validation or embodying value? The answer depends on the choice you make today, and here is the choice before you. You can continue on the easy path, the path of compromise, the path of constant proving, the path of desperation. Or you can take the Stoic path, the harder path, the path of silence, of discipline, of integrity, of boundaries, of detachment, of self-value, of nothing to prove. The first path will keep you invisible, overlooked, undervalued. The second path will transform you into someone unshakable, someone respected, someone valued, not because you asked for it, but because you became it. Which will you choose? If you have followed this far, if you have listened and reflected, then you already know the answer. You know that the only path worth walking is the path of strength, the path of freedom, the path of virtue. And if you choose it, then let this be your declaration, your mantra, your seal upon this journey. I am unshakable. Write it down, speak it out, carry it with you. Let it remind you in moments of doubt, in moments of rejection, in moments of temptation, that your value does not depend on others. It depends on you and you alone. This is the heart of Stoicism. This is the heart of being valued, not chasing, not begging, not proving, but embodying. And when you embody, the world notices, the world values, the world respects, because strength cannot be hidden, integrity cannot be ignored, and self-respect cannot go unnoticed. So as we close this journey, let me leave you with one final thought. You have nothing to prove because you already are enough. You have everything to gain because you have chosen to live with virtue, and you have every reason to stand tall because you are unshakable. This is Diary Stoic. This is your path, and it begins now.